Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Hang on, let me turn this light on. There we go. That's better. All right. So, what's going on? Who do we have here? No one says hello other than North Girl 77. Hello there. Let me know your age, gender, and where you're tuning in from. So, at least I have some ideas. Let me write it down here. Welcome. Please include in your comments and or questions your age, gender, and which city or country you are watching this program from. Thank you. So if you guys don't do that, then so I even put a note here. Okay, female, 35, New York. Oh, the Big Apple. Thank you for that. You've been here, have you? No, I've never seen your thumbnail or screen name here before. Maybe it's your first time. Delighted that you could join us, and thank you for enjoying the channel. Hopefully you do. And hope that the videos are of some help to you. We have over 3,000 videos on this channel in regards to breakups, relationships, the movement of the psyche, what is thought, what is consciousness, the relationship between thoughts and consciousness, desire, ego, fear, mechanical process, order, and of course, we have hundreds of videos about the topic of OCD, OCD subsets, including HOCD, and I hope the channel has been helpful to you. And we have live streams often during the week. The scheduled one is on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Vancouver time, Pacific West Coast time zone. However, we have many live streams at this time, usually every night, Vancouver time, 9 p.m., and any other chance that I get. So hopefully that has been helpful to you, and I appreciate your continued support to enjoy the channel and talk about it on social medias, share the videos you like so people can get to know this channel exists, help is around, and it's available to them so we can reach more people and help more people. And we have Mr. Erifel, 27 male, Chechia. So just saying good morning before work. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate the kindness and the energy. And North Girl 77 says, hello, Mehran. I recently discovered your channel. Okay. All right. Usually people have broken up or whatnot. They find me. And, they find our channel, this channel, after they have exhausted their time on many other channels and they don't find real answers, rather than there you'll be fine, come and spend your $1,000 on and then we'll give you some kind of assurances and whatnot. But we, as you know, our channel is about helping you to see the movement of the psyche and become the mechanic of your own machine rather than having somebody else tell you how you should feel or why and so on. Eventually you should be able to know why you feel the way you do and what you should do to move out of it and so on. So we have thousands, literally thousands of discussions and videos on this topic. And I'm delighted that you were able to find the channel. You must have been looking for the answer. Otherwise, we're not first on the batter. We are not found in the first page if somebody is searching for some kind of a topic that uh, is included in our videos. So I guess you've been looking for it and you did accidentally probably stumbled on it. And that's the problem with our channel. That's why we have so little number of subscribers, where I've heard it from many, many hundreds of people, including myself, that I think we should have a couple of million subscribers, because our topics are genuinely thought through and helpful, and they address the real inner problems and nitty gritties of the uh, challenges. So, anyhow, delighted that you're here, North Girl, and hope you'll continue enjoying the topics or the discussions. It's hard to talk, I, I, I had a good workout today, and then after that, I've eaten like a pig. So it's hard to have a long sentence in one breath. Get out of. Okay, let me just have my tea. I shouldn't have started it now, I guess, but that's the only time that I can catch you guys. However, North Girl, you're in New York. It's 12 midnight. What the hell are you doing up so late? Aren't you working tomorrow? Go to sleep. All right. And she says, I'm 35 years old. You're not my real mom. Leave me alone. And just physics says, hey, Miran, I'm not sure if you remember me, but I was the one with TOCD that talked to you. There's so many people talk to me about different OCDs and OCD subsets. I don't know if you talked on Skype. By the way, you guys, a good opening here for a little advertisement of the services. I have a site, mindthatseekstruth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com, where you can take a look at the table of contents of the books I've written. You can pick up the ones that you feel it's suitable to you and helpful to you. And you can choose the ebook version, which is 1/10 of the price of the paper ones. Paper ones are expensive because the shipping is included wherever in the world. And they're heavy. They're like 600 pages, 360 pages, 150 whatever pages. So the ebook version is instantaneous and it's very nominally priced. And I highly recommend the book Me, My Psyche and I. Me, My Psyche and I. Plus, you could make an appointment with me to have a discussion on what's concerning you on Skype. There'll be one-on-one discussing on Skype what's concerning you whenever you feel it's needed. Now, having plugged that in, let's go back to see what Matthew's saying. Matthew Perez says, hello, man. Hello, woman. Because you haven't said, your, your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. So I, choose whatever. Let's see the following. Says, hello, man. I am freshman in California. Oh, freshman in college. Okay. 14 years old. Oh, you're 14 years old. Okay, then. I hope that you have permission from your parents to be here, because this channel is for 18 and up. At least that's what I've made it for. It's not for, 13, 14 years old. So if that's the case, if they know that you're here, you're on this channel, then that would be fine. Says, in high school, and I have HOCD. Okay. Join the club. Says, I used to get many same-sex images, thoughts, and a lot more but I would brush them off easily. I would also get super anxious when I would look at an attractive guy but not worry about it as much. Recently, after I have come back from winter break, my HOCD is at its worst. I can't even focus in school. It wasn't on, oh, I really don't know what to do, and these thoughts feel very real. But my dream has always been to be a dad and a husband to a beautiful wife, and that's how it will be. Don't worry. This is basically, I have explained what it is in many videos. It has a lot to do with the amygdala sending emotional danger signals when there is nothing happening. It's a malfunction, it's an overactive amygdala. And then there is no narrative, there's no scenario with that emotional signal that has been sent. Prefrontal cortex tries to find a scenario for it to match it up. So, what better than the one that you're most concerned about? Every one of us are holding sacred our identity, our sexual orientation. That's the one that is very important for us. And the emotional danger signal can only be fit in the eyes of the prefrontal cortex to something that is aligning with along the lines of what's most sacred to you, which is your sexual orientation. So it connects the two together, and you take the scenario and you use it as an evidence that the emotional signal was coming because of this scenario, where it's not true. Prefrontal cortex doesn't know what the signal came from. It's just trying to match it so it won't be hanging around with no narrative. All because it thinks that's the most important for you. And if there's a danger coming to alert you, it must be about that. And then you take that and you associate that with all kind of things that you don't want to happen. And then, of course, the misinterpretation and all that takes over, and you get bamboozled. And you think, plus, you think that the brain is you, you're the brain, and then you find yourself helpless. Oh, then that's what it is. I'm changing. No. If you educate yourself about what OCD and OCD subsets and HOCD is, then you see the role of amygdala, role of caudate nucleus in the striatum in basal ganglia, and the rest of the stories and the logic of the malfunction that is happening in the signaling system. And by watching the videos that I've prepared, two major playlists. One is um, intrusive thoughts, transient thoughts, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts. It talks about interpretations of thoughts, different tangents, and you can just look at the titles and see which one is the one that you want to have some interpretation about it. And then the other playlist, it doesn't talk about interpretation of thoughts. It actually goes further beyond that, which is the main part of understanding and helping yourself, is to see the proofs and the logic, philosophically and scientifically, that you're not the brain is not you, and the separation between brain and you helps you to realize that what brain conjures up, images, thoughts, suggestions, and all that, are all irrelevant to you, has nothing to do with you, because there's a you which existed millions of years before you were ever given this brain that it can calculate and do things and speak and think. And then later on, this brain was added to you. So what the brain does is an organ that is supposed to do making thoughts, and it doesn't really know what it's doing, but just its job is to make thoughts. And often, like any other electrical system, it malfunctions, and then it mixes up signals and sends weird things, and then you got to retrain it and help the brain to rewire itself by educating yourself through videos such as mine and videos that the experts, psychologists have put together, such as Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Jan Rayner, Dr. Philipson. All the links are all in the description of my videos where you can watch it and educate yourself and then understand what this is all about and so on and so forth. So, boy, I can't breathe. There's just too much food. I can't talk. So I'm going to talk short sentences. Yes, no, maybe. That's it. Tonight, that's how it's going to be. So I could have just said to to Matthew, no. That would be easier. Oh, okay. And Lucky Dude says, sir, I now have OCD of religious conversion. You're a good collection of OCDs. You're like me. With, of course, I think you're worse than me. You've got things that I didn't experience. And says, I have religious conversion, OCD of religious conversion. This is annoying me a lot. How do I deal with it? No problem. All religions are just as good and just as bad. So you won't lose or gain anything, even if you convert. So just stay true to yourself and to the God that you believe, and that's good enough. Now, which path you take doesn't matter. um, in fact, religions are like a bunch of people want to climb a mountain to reach the summit. They all have the same goal, to reach the summit. In religion, we want to be a better person, closer to God, and all that, so forth. But according to their ability and agility, they choose different side of the mountain. One goes with the rope, one goes with, free climbing, one goes with walking all around and getting to the top. Depends on what their fitness level and abilities and agilities are. So that's why different religions are around in the world. People pick up whatever is suitable to them, but they all mean the same. They all want to be better people and closer to the creator and go to the summit. And same thing as the climbing the mountain. So it, think of it this way. It doesn't matter which religion you convert or you don't. It's all good and all bad. It depends how it's being used. All right. And Just Physics says, hi, I'm male 15. I have permission. Thank you. Says, and I have TOCD and it's gotten worse for me over time. It have convinced me to believe that I am trans and I like it and it feels real, like it's true. All OCDs feel real pretty much. Like, what do you think it is when I used to think I have to wash my hands 10 times for something that it was not even dirty, when I could have washed once and that's enough. But I have a belief that I must do it. Why? No reason. There was no evidence, no reason offered by the brain or by any other way, but I was convinced that I should do it. Or check the door if it's locked or not, or check the oven. Hmm? Or walk on the four corners of a tile while I'm walking in the street or somewhere. Why? Oh, no reason. Psychological security. That if I don't, maybe something bad will happen. There was no reason to it, but there was some kind of a belief that had been created in my brain. Why? Because the brain has gone malfunctioning and I had no understanding that the brain is not me. But what the brain says must be true because I can do math with brain. So math is smart. So brain is smart, is intellect. It's not true. Brain is not intellect. In fact, in the experiments that Nobel Prize echelon type of research was by Dr. Speary, neurosurgeon, neuroscientist, Dr. Penfield, neurosurgeon, Dr. Owen, neurosurgeon, neuroscientist, Dr. Libet, These are all in the videos that I have prepared for you guys based on the research of Dr. Egnar that shows clearly what each those experiences were and what they proved. One of the many things that you will find in that video that they have proven is that there is no localizable center in the brain for intellect. They can localize a place where they can stimulate it and you could see a light. Occipital part of the brain, back of the brain can be stimulated and you could see a light, like a vision is working. Or they could stimulate a speech center and you could make a sound. Or the limb center, motor system of the cortex, and then hand could go up, a limb could move, sensory motors, I mean. And however, they could not localize compassion center, intellect center, math center. They could not localize consciousness center. So brain is not smart. Brain has no intellect. It's a machine, has a program, just like your kidneys, just like your liver has a job to do. And it does that. But when you think, because it facilitates and is able to help you to do certain things, therefore that makes brain intellectual or intelligent and smart, and it is you who's supposed to follow the brain rather than you be the judge of the brain's production, then you're messed up. Then you start believing whatever it suggests. And of course it becomes real. Why? Because brain is very powerful. It can make you believe anything. And to the point that you forget all your history. Everything else that you liked. You like girls, you like this, you like that. None of that matters anymore. So educate yourself and talk to your psychologist, psychotherapist, and ask them to help you to understand what is happening in HOCD and subsets of, OCD and subsets of OCD, such as HOCD or other subsets. And then you would be able to be a little bit more clear about what's happening and what is malfunctioning and what is the rest of it. Matthew says, I appreciate it. You're quite welcome. And North Girl from New York 35 says, I recently got a message from X that he's getting married the same day and wanted to let me know. Same day as what, North Girl? Did I miss a previous message? You mean on the day that he was getting married, he texted you? What for? And I don't know how long you guys were together, what the background story is. So you kind of giving me the story from the middle. I mean, I'm good, but not that good. I can't guess things. So I recently got a message from X that he is getting married the same day and wanted to let me know. I haven't heard from him in years. I find it weird because I broke up with him. Did he do not did he do it out of spite? No. I think he did it out of trying to say that I'm okay, I'm not hurt. I mean, you didn't hurt me because I'm getting married. See, somebody loves me, somebody likes me. I got it. So he's kind of defending himself in a way. So obviously, he hasn't gotten over you to the point that he thinks he got to prove to you that it didn't matter that you broke up with him. Like he's okay. Like he hasn't lost his face, which is fine. But I think that's the intention. Spite of what? What do you care? It's been years and you don't care. And he knows it. He's doing it for him, not for you. He's not trying to say it. He's just trying to say that I'm not as low as you thought that you dumped me or whatever. I'm getting married, as if that makes him a good or bad person. So don't worry about it. Just move on. Don't give it down. It's just very childish that on the day he's getting married, sending the ex a message. Just so fucked up. I mean, pardon my French, but that that's what it is. So it's not on you; it's on him. The poor guy is struggling, and he's probably waiting for all these years to prove to you that I'm okay. I'm all right. So he's not. That was his chance. Telling you that I'm getting married, meaning I'm not hurt by you. Okay, fine, good. You're not hurt. Go on and enjoy your life. And says, as spite to tell me, mm, now he is getting married the same day after same. Yeah, yeah. That's his problem. You don't have anything to worry. Don't worry about it. Who gives a shit? In other words, move on. It's like you didn't hear it. That's his problem. Ridhey Ahuja says, "Sir, I'm losing attraction for girls. Help." You don't. You're not losing attraction. You're just being distracted from what you are attracted to, and instead you're thinking that that is what you should focus on. No, just what I just finished talking about. And I want to ask you guys something. You know that since 10 years ago when I started this channel, I've probably answered every single comment that was made on the channel if I found them. If they were lost or I couldn't see them, then that's a different story. But thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, there's thousands of comments. I've answered them uh, elaborately as much as it was relevant. But it is not really that efficient if you guys send me a comment of certain kind of urgency instead of coming to the live stream. Look, I'm here ready to answer questions, and there's only five of you here. Five. Yet during the week, I get hundreds of emails and questions and comments, and you expect me to start writing. You know how much typing is that, and how ineffective it is because it's not, uh, you know, um, interactive. So please, instead of sending comments on the videos and expect response, just come to live stream, figure out when it is, or subscribe, click on the bell, and choose the option all or always, and then come here, and when I'm live it will let you know, hopefully, that you can come here and ask questions. And send me comments and expecting to respond by creating certain kind of urgency. All it does gives me anxiety. There's something wrong, I got to do something. I can't use cross the street, I mean cross the world street. So if there's anything urgent, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor. You can go to your doctor or psychologist or to hospital, whatever it is, and just take care of the matter, rather than creating some kind of a unnecessary anxiety for yourself or for me. There's nothing's going to happen to you. So, all right. And North Girl says, "Thank you. I appreciate your opinion." So he messaged me out of pride. Yeah, he messaged you out of trying to say that I measure up. I'm not hurt or whatever else his intention could have been. It doesn't matter really. It really doesn't matter. Your world is not, uh, you know, um, including him, and is not made by what he does, he says, or the reaction. So you have a separate world and enjoy that. Don't worry about stuff like that. He's obviously is not balanced to the point that the day of his wedding is sending a message, you know. Or maybe he's just trying to say that he's happy and no hard feelings or whatever. That's okay. Whatever it is, take it positively and wish him well. Cricket Lover says, "Sir, my mind not behave like heterosexually, like developing thoughts of dating a girl and many girls, and When I think like this, it gives me some anxiety. Why is it, please? Because when you think that way, which obviously you've always been interested in girls, but now HOCD is hitting you and confusing the hell out of you, you're questioning yourself when it hits you, like when you think about a girl or dating a girl. At the same time, because HOCD has confused the hell out of you and you're looking for a conclusion, an answer, which there's no answer to be had, but you think you should have an answer. So you're constantly ruminating about it. And it also brings you a doubt if I'm going to be doing the right thing to date a girl. What about the HOCD? Am I deserving to date a girl? Is it the right choice? So you want assurances there and everywhere. And you're looking for a conclusion and answer, which you shouldn't be. You should not give a shit what the brain is talking about or make you feel like or whatever. You roll in life with your vetoes and choices. What you prefer, what your values are, what you feel and keep sacred in your inner center, in your wise advocate, as Dr. Schwartz called it, in your gatekeeper, as Dr. Phillipson called it, or in your super consciousness, as I call it. Of course, I'm not a psychologist, but that's what I call it. So, uh, so in other words, you simply need to understand that these anxieties, I have anxiety, so it means something. I don't have anxiety, so it means none of that means anything. If you have anxiety, it doesn't mean that you like it, or if you have anxiety, it doesn't mean you don't like it. If you have, none of that means anything. You need to do without. You need to do away with all these search for certainty, search for assurance, search for conclusion. Just observe these thoughts, feelings, bullshit, whatever comes in. You roll with your preferences, vetoes, and your choices. That's it. Nothing is here beyond you. This brain is not your boss or your master or intellect. Is not, it cannot tell you what is right for you. You can. Hmm? The fact that you're questioning this, there's an awareness between what the brain suggests, conjures up, and what you want. Hmm? So you ask questions about it. But the fact that you think brain is intellect, you tend to think because the brain suggests that, therefore brain must be right. So then you feel like, but there's a but there. And the reason is that you're not choosing your judgment to go with your vetoes and your choices. You're going by what the brain says because you have been duped to think what brain says is you. What brain says is the boss. What brain says is intellect. It's not. So you don't need brain's affirmation or suggestion. You have your program, you have your interest. That's what you should stick with, whatever that is. Hmm? Anyhow, yeah. Listen, Cricket, I'm here far away. Either you can make an appointment on the Skype, we can discuss it interactively, or you basically better to make an appointment with your psychologist, psychotherapist, because you've been asking questions for a long time, but you never pretty much listen to what is being said. You constantly follow the narrative that the brain is suggesting. So you need to talk to your psychotherapist or psychologist who is available to you there. Otherwise, these questions back and forth won't do anything because you're constantly looking for assurances or some kind of a evidence for something that needs no evidence, and you should be okay with uncertainty and just simply roll with your vetoes and choices rather than what suggestion has shown up, so I should follow that, because you are not clear the relationship between you and the brain, and you're being bamboozled every time with every feeling, with every thoughts, and that's not good for you. Yeah. So make an appointment with your psychologist and then ask them to help you to clear this out. But they have to be experts in OCD and HOCD, subsets of OCD. Otherwise, a regular psychologist doesn't necessarily know about the OCD and how to educate you and how to help you with subsets of OCD and so on. So be careful of that. Norman says, five people only. Let me make that six out. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, we could use that. If you can make it seven or eight, that would be even better. See, we have seven now. And Norman, please let me know age, gender, where you're tuning in from. So, because I don't remember necessarily. I can see your picture, but age and where you're tuning in from, I can't. Mark's Dude says, I don't need brain to tell me how to live. There you go. That's my boy. Says, I don't need my brain's validation. Sometimes the trick it plays feels so real, but I guess you just prove the brain that you just prove the brain that you're okay. Now, you don't prove anything to brain. Just ignore the brain. It's a machine. Let it do its work. So um, Zeljko Babik says, Hi, I'm 44 years old. I neglected my wife, but in some time I was good man. I didn't show love to her, and she left me and took our little son with her. I want to talk to her, but she said it's too late. Yeah, this sentence "too late" is pretty bad sentence. Which too late for what? What happened? But I understand how you feel, and but the good news is that you've learned something from it, and you realize why she's left. And it must have been a long time that this was going on. I don't know when it has happened, how long it has passed. Maybe you want to give it a bit of a time, let her be free and feel how it is out there. Maybe she'll go on a couple of dates and she feels like, everybody's out there to, I don't know, have fun or something and nothing serious. And then she will eventually, maybe she'll give you a chance to talk together again. But in the meantime, I don't know your history. I don't know how long it's been. I don't know where she is, what she's doing. I don't know the financial situations. I don't know her needs. And we haven't had a chat. So I can't make any more comment than this. Otherwise, um, that I can just maybe suggest to you that if it's just recently, give her some space, let her think it through, and then later on, if you wish, you can make an appointment with me, and we can discuss this on a Skype one-on-one and see how we can approach and how you can get an appointment with her and how you can convince her to sit down with you and on what angle you can approach it, and then bring about some kind of a harmony and a compromise and understanding, and perhaps that would be a new start. But from what you told me, there's nothing pretty much I can tell you at this stage. Zeljko says she goes before 1 year. Oh, it's more than 1 year now. So I still miss her, yeah, naturally, and our son, of course. I can't move on. I work on myself, but can't find peace. Yes, I understand. It would be good if you can. I don't know if you like to talk to me or if she likes to talk to me. And perhaps I can find out what's in her mind. Maybe you suggest to her, if she likes to talk to me, you will pay for it. And maybe she says no, she won't have nothing to do with you, which is the case that you will leave her alone for a while. But it's been a year, you said. So if it's been a year, obviously she's probably has set up some kind of a life for herself. I don't know if she works or if you still help her with finances, but don't let this affect your job, your money earning ability. If you lose that, that would be very difficult to get back to her or to feel good about yourself. You got to stay productive. You got to stay busy with your work. You got to make money. Money talks. You can help her with comfort once you have more money. And all that will make her see that you're not just talking about you care and you're sorry about the mistreatment or lack of treatment or lack of attention. You're also, putting your money into work. You're by your actions, you're helping her to have a better lifestyle, and that might actually, your actions might be the way to go rather than your intentions and talks and so on. So that's pretty much I can I can say about this today. Manav says, can HOCD make you feel you don't know that you're straight? Of course, that's what HOCD does. That's the trick of it. It creates havoc on you and misleads you and tries to confuse you. And you need to learn. You can't be discussing logically with the brain and expecting brain to be reasonable or make a decision. Brain is gone rogue, is gone malfunctioning. It's not an intellect. It doesn't consult with you what it wants to talk about. It's like an intestine with diarrhea. It shuts any place, doesn't know what it does, and expects you to think, oh yeah, diarrhea is exactly what you've always been and what you want to be. Something that you're not. Whatever your gender is, it tries to convince you that you're not that. In fact, in a way, if you were born in an island and you had no idea what your gender was, if HOCD would hit you and attack you because of the type of HOCD, that is the thoughts that HOCD brain is suggesting, you would know what your gender is. If it's talking about that you're heterosexual, then you knew. If you were homosexual and you were being hit with thoughts of heterosexuality by your HOCD, you would then definitely know that you're opposite of what the HOCD is suggesting. If you're a heterosexual and you have this understanding and you are hit with the homosexual thoughts, then definitely you're heterosexual, because HOCD always hits you with ideas, suggestions, and feelings and so on, opposite of what you are. It never, HOCD never comes into you exactly as the gender that you are, because then there's no discussion, there is no conflict. And HOCD brain is causing conflict for many reasons due to the malfunctions that I mentioned: the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, the striatum, basal ganglia, and caudate nucleus, and so on and so forth. But also because brain doesn't find its security, its psychological security, it doesn't find its security in physical safe area. It finds its security in occupation, in busyness, in being occupied in there. And it cannot create that occupation by giving you a compliment about you, by saying something that you like. It must create some kind of a havoc, opposite of what you are, in order for you to rise and argue with it. And from that argument and energy exchange, it gains security because it creates occupation and busyness. So you got to know the malfunction is what's happening in the signal system, and these other things that I just mentioned. So going on with Norman Osborne says, New York, 20 years old, avid Star Wars theory fan. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, I like Star Wars too. Um, Just Physics says, for it doesn't feel like it's my brain, but instead it's me who is like that. And who said that? Well, of course it doesn't feel like your brain, because you don't understand that the brain is not you. You're still thinking that brain and you are the same. For a million years, you lived without this brain. You had a stem brain, you had a reptilian brain, and all your life was based on instinct, like animals. You would run, you would hunt, you would sleep, you would have sex, and nothing, and everything was clear. Why? Because there was no thinking ability, there was no thoughts involved. There was no speaking ability. There was no words and meanings of words, no conclusions. It was all instinctive, like an animal, free and no questions. Why? Because thoughts are the roots of our problems. Before we had this brain that could think and speak, we had no problems because we had no ability to think or speak. So for millions of years, you lived until 40,000 years ago, where this brain was developed to the point that brought about these abilities that we could calculate, figure out something, do things which helped us to accomplish so much that we have. But it also has a drawback that it goes rogue, it goes malfunctioning, it goes messed up, and it creates havoc. And yet you have believed that this organ that was added to you is you. So now you feel whatever it thinks. Oh, you think, oh, I think it's me. Are you the brain? Unless you're the brain, what brain conjures up is not you. You and brain are separate. If you understand the separation between brain and you, then you're free. Again, I'm going to put this link in here. I really encourage every single one of you to watch this video because I spent so much time on it. No, because it will help you to really understand a little bit better about the relationship between you and the brain. And through the experiments of these brilliant neurosurgeons, you will learn that beyond a shadow of doubt, not just because of the Aristotle's discussion 1,000 years ago about dualism, that you're not the brain, brain is not you, and there are aspects of mind and you that the brain cannot even reach, and there's something beyond brain, versus the materialists who always talked about atoms or void. There's either something or nothing, something or nothing. But yet, Aristotle was talking about there's something beyond the brain, beyond the atom, beyond something, which then now the modern science through neurosurgery and neuroscience have proven beyond the shadow of doubt that that is correct. There are aspects of mind and you that the brain cannot even reach. So not even you are not the brain, brain is not you. You are the judge and you're the boss of the brain. That's how you should be thinking about, rather than being bamboozled by the brain. Whew. It's hard to talk after eating a lot. Ah, Zeljko Babik says, thank you very much. You're quite welcome, dear. Manav says, does it also make false feelings like after seeing a boy, it feels weird? But yes, it does. It does all that. You Manav, you need to speak to your psychologists and get that cleared out. Norman says, I like to think OCD in its broadest form is just like negative conscious habit. Yeah, OCD is a glitch that it stems from many reasons, and also psychologically for psychological security. Like when you're a child and you think, oh, I got to touch this 5 times, this light switch, otherwise my father dies. These are all in search of psychological security. But of course, then it has ways that you can understand it, neuroscience of habits, and why you do the compulsion for the obsession, because it makes you feel good. But then after you do the compulsion, you have this comfort feeling, and that comfort feeling secretes dopamine, which then after a while you get addicted to the dopamine, and you're not doing the compulsion because of the obsession only. You're doing the compulsion to get the dopamine. And so before you know it, you're no longer doing it just for the obsession. You're doing it because you're addicted to dopamine. And then when you do it thousands of times, no longer you're doing the compulsion for the obsession or the dopamine. You're actually doing it because it has become your habit. Why? Because the habit center, reward center, and goal finding center, they're all on top of each other in the midbrain striatum in the basal ganglia. So therefore, every time you do the compulsion, there's dopamine secreted, and every time dopamine is secreted, it stimulates the habit center. So after so many times done, because they're right on top of each other, you're creating a habit, and no longer you know why even you're doing it. It's no longer, you're not even thinking about OCD. You're just doing it because it becomes your habit. That's when it becomes more difficult to get rid of it. All right. Yes, true, Norman. Yes. And that's exactly because it has become a habit. There's no logic behind it. And it has a bit to do with the religiosity, which is the act of believing, which has to do with the gene VMAT2, VMAT2, and the neurons in the real estate of that area that is functioning, plus this serotonin and dopamine. And the combination causes you to believe something without any evidence whatsoever. So that's what the religiosity is all about. And then, that gene has something to do with it, which we don't want to go into it further because it becomes a different topic. But yeah, that's why it shows up, even though it never comes true. Nothing, none of that OCD thoughts comes true. And Wajid Biswas um, says, "Good morning, sir. Good morning. Age, gender, where you tuning in from, please." Now, the as busy as we are with the questions, we're only six people here. For heaven's sake, if you guys think why I disappear and go jump in the lake is because we don't have enough support for people to use it. While the channel actually has lots of views during its cycle. However, I would have liked to see a lot more people using our live stream because it's easier for me to answer all the questions and all the emails I receive. And Bizwa says, I have a problem that is, I'm very attracted to friend's mom. What was his name in American Pie? S- Uh, what? Sphincter's mother? I forgot. That's your problem. What do you do? Nothing. It's just like, how old are you? First, you got to tell me how old you are. You're not telling me anything. I'm not going to answer you now. I got to see your gender, age. Of course, I know the gender, but how old are you? Yeah, you're from India. Yes, of course. What's your age? Does anybody read some of the things that I write up there? I wrote it for you guys. It says, "Welcome. Please include your please include in your comments and questions your age, gender, and which city or country you're watching this program from. Thank you." Looks like nobody cares. That's why I have to. You're 27 years old. Okay. 27 years old, that's the age that even you see a tree walking, you'd say, well, it's a nice looking tree. You want to, it's your mom's friend, and you don't see it as that. You see her as a woman with class and authority, and she's probably hot and beautiful. And so naturally, all you have to do to understand that this is your biology and you don't need to act on it. Yeah, you don't need to act on it. Just enjoy in private in your head and admire her distance, but don't act on it. It becomes very awkward and it's not going to go anywhere. Neither she would be allowing you to make advances, nor is it right for you to make any advances and make it awkward. So you can, not just her, there could be many other women that you see in your daily life. I don't know, the grocery salesperson, or somebody walking into some office you walk in, or some secretary, or some doctor, or some lawyer. Whoever you meet, she might be very attractive and you might be attracted to her, but that doesn't mean you should act on it. Just like you walking in a garden, you admire the flowers that you pass by, but you don't have to pick them. Just admire and go. So you admire your mom's, your friend's mom in your mind, and go. That's it. All right. Yeah, Norman, I know it's all the way up in the chat. People can't see it, but regardless of where I put it, they still won't. It's easier to just repeat it to them. But you know what I can do? This is what I can do. I think that is the best solution. There we go. There we go. There we go. Uh huh. There we go. I think we got it figured out. And next time I make it shorter, just say, please include. Oh, I got to push this in for you. Guys, that's the link of that video that I was talking about. And North Girl says, what are the most important qualities a woman should look for when looking to find a man, partner to marry? Well, I don't know. It's up to you. Each woman has different qualities. But in general, from what I know about women, is that they like to be secure as far as financial is concerned or comfort zone. They like to be protected. They like to be with someone who is valuing his promises, someone who is kind and fair and compassionate, caring, someone who's responsible, and pretty much the rest of it is up to you. But you want someone who's got some kind of a ability to provide, someone who cares about you, and someone also expects you to be disciplined and care about him, to see that in you, because otherwise, what are you giving in to get? I know women want everything, but there has to be something that the man wants that you should be able to offer in order for them to pay attention to. And that would obviously be, you take good care of yourself, be fit, be as beautiful as you can be, hygiene, healthy lifestyle, responsible, educated, have a career that you appreciate, have a life for yourself that you like the things that you do and accomplish things, so you will feel happy rather than leaving it on the shoulders of your partner to make you happy. In other words, if you go in a relationship to get happy, that's going to be disaster. You got to be happy first, know how to keep yourself happy in life by what you accomplish and your career or whatever you're interested in, and then go into the relationship to help the relationship to be a healthy one. Right? But if every one of you go into a relationship to become happy, well, you go in there to become happy, the other one goes in there to be happy, so both of you are looking for the other one to make you happy. That's not going to happen, because the most important person in your life is who? Is you. You think you're the most important person in your life. Everything is for you, and the other one thinks the most important person in his life is him. So everything he does, he wants it to get some kind of a benefit from it, right? So guess what? He's not there to make you happy. He's there to be happy. You're not there to make him happy. You're there to be happy. So it's never going to work. So you got to be happy, both of you, before you find each other, before you want to go in a relationship. So when you go in there, you just have a healthy relationship rather than looking for the other one to make you happy. That's a disaster. Thomas says, hi, Miran. He says, remember me, Thomas? No, I don't, because the name itself doesn't doesn't remind me, of what conversation or what questions, where you're from, how old you are, what your gender is, none of that. So help me out here. I mean, for heaven's sake, God damn it, Thomas, it's right here. says, welcome, welcome. Please include your comments and or questions, your age, gender, and which city or country you're watching this program from. Thank you. Nobody gives a shit, does it? uh, Thomas, I can't tell from the first name. I need something to jog my memory. All right. At least we've been consistent from beginning to an end. The six people. That's wonderful. Wunderbar. Anonymous says, hi, Miran. Sir, hello, Anonymous. Thomas is male 27 from US. Where in US, Thomas? Still, I can't remember. Has it been a long time? This is for the benefit of the people who actually have not done so. So let me just give a message. All right. A quick message. All right. Manav says male 15 India. Thank you for that. Norman says, have you had OCD or so? Oh, yeah. Ever since childhood, I used to sit in the bus going to school and doing this. I had to finish on a certain note. It's crazy. Or wash my hands more than necessary. Like, if I were supposed to wash dishes, I would take hours. I remember I remember I finished university and I was at my brother's home with his wife, and she had prepared lunch for everyone, and we all ate, and then I volunteered to wash the dishes, and of course. It was 2 hours later. I was still washing dishes. And so she said, oh my goodness. Every time I get it, I ask you to wash it or something, or it took so long, something like that. So yeah, the washing dishes and turning this light switch off and on. If I don't do that, something bad happens. If I do it, something good happens. All kind of crazy things. It took me a while, but I was determined to get to the bottom of it and get myself out of that. Took years, but I didn't care about. I didn't think about it that it's a disorder or anything. I just dealt with it in life until eventually I thought this is crazy. I'm doing cleaning so many unnecessary things. It's just crazy. So I somehow, because I have this strong mind, perhaps either through training or whatever in university or just my nature, I decided to defeat this. And so I reprogram myself without really knowing, not having the education of it. But of course, later on in life, I then educated myself about OCD and subsets of OCD and learned the relationship between the malfunctioning caudate nucleus, striatum, basal ganglia, amygdala, and frontal cortex, and all these things. So I studied it and then become much more logical to how to get rid of it and rewire yourself. Thomas is from Florida. Says, haha, I haven't been in. I was doing better. Oh, good. Okay, delighted to hear that. Anonymous says, hi, sir. I have a question. Recovering from HOCD, but yesterday I got a voice in my head. Well, yeah, too bad. You got a voice in your head. Don't listen to the voice, which said, "What if you were never heterosexual, and secretly homosexual. That's a fuck up that the HOCD does to you. The problem is that you're trying to prove to an organ who you are and get permission from some fucking organ that you are this or you're not. You're trying to communicate and get permission from an organ. Brain is an organ, is not you. If you understand this, then you don't give a shit. Voice. A voice told me. This is no different than when you're walking in the street and somebody walks behind you and says something nasty. It's a suggestion. It told you. So that came to you. So you're going to what? Believe it? Or you're going to say, no, I believe myself. So who is myself? You got to understand. If myself in your mind is your brain, then you're fucked. All your life, you're going to be fucked because you're believing in an organ. It's no different than believing your intestine. So when it gets diarrhea, you think, oh, that's the normal thing for you. And you forget totally about all your life that diarrhea was not comfortable for you. You know, that you preferred the way it was, how it was normal for you. You could have different genders that which you would know. Your awareness would tell you the contradiction that exists between what the brain suggests and what you are, what your choice and preferences are. If you want to close your eyes on that fact instead of relying on your awareness and noticing the contradiction between what the brain says and who you are and your choices are, if you want to, not focus on that, then you're going to be believing anything that the brain says. But when you rely on the fact that your awareness shows you there's a contradiction between what the brain says and what you are and what your preferences are, then you can see that it doesn't matter what the brain says. Brain is an organ that malfunctions, has glitches. You're not supposed to go up and down every time that the brain. So, anyhow. And you guys, the problem is that you constantly ask the same question, meaning all you are in the glitch of assurances rather than looking at the logic of what it is and understand by educating yourself and then rewiring your brain, understanding that the brain is malfunctioning rather than believing what the brain is saying. The fact is, you cannot understand and believe that the brain can malfunction. That's the problem. So whatever it says, you're trying to interpret it rather than simply understand there's a malfunction, so I don't need to do anything with it. I recognize the malfunction. I call it for what it is, intrusive thoughts. That's not me. That's OCD. That's not me. And then you continue your way in what it is that you want to accomplish on that day. That's it. But you constantly try to prove to the brain when it suggests something and you're busy trying to interact with it rather than trying to rewire it by your behavior and treatment toward these suggestions. You're complying rather than trying to rewire itself through your behavior towards the suggestion and thoughts that show up. Watch the videos that I've created for you guys and watch the links of the psychologists and psychotherapists that are famous around the world and their specialties, OCD and subsets of OCD, and then you will help yourself through education. Otherwise, your know-how is so limited that all it is getting cues and orders from the brain because you're not separating yourself from the brain and you're trying to justify or interpret what the brain says rather than judging it. Let the thoughts be, they will let you be. Simple. Don't have to analyze them, don't accept them, don't destroy them, don't need to stop them. Just let them be. There's the thoughts. Okay, hello, thank you very much. Okay, have a nice day. Have a seat there or move along. And you just keep doing your own thing rather than worrying about the thoughts that show up. Thomas says, my 2-year relationship ended in August. It was a difficult fall for me. Just getting by day to day. You helped me a lot. I finally Started seeing new girl around Christmas, and we hung the past 3 weeks. After things had been going well last weekend, after hanging out, she texted me saying she wasn't interested anymore and thought we should stop talking. I came to the realization that I am okay with it ending because there were many red flags with her I did not like. But this has led me to refocus my mind back on my ex. Yeah, that naturally happens from many months ago, and I have started reminiscing in memories again. And it's been a challenge all over again to not think of her. Well, you can think of her, but you don't have to think that thinking of her is an evidence that you want to be with her. Thinking of ex-girlfriend is natural, normal, especially when you don't have a girlfriend. And we're always, there are some things about every one of them that we like. But it doesn't mean just because you think of her, you should also desire her. What happens when you think of her? Where are you thinking of her? You got to go to the memory to think of her. When you go to the memory, you will find the old order that was created when you guys were together. And in that order, your mind finds security. Mind finds security in the order of life. And right now, the relationship is broken. You don't have an order. The order has broken. So your mind doesn't have a place to be. So it's following everywhere. And when you go to memory, it finds the old order with your ex and it feels comfortable and wants to stay there. Once it's staying there, what else is there? Other files related to that relationship. What are the files? The file that contains prerequisite steps needs to be taken for desire to be born. And I have a video that shows you the steps that needs to be fulfilled before desire is born. And when you're in the memory, the file which contains the prerequisite for desire steps, the desire to be born, those steps are already recorded. And when you are in the memory, thinking of her, naturally the file is rekindled and becomes reactivated. And when it becomes reactivated, the desire is born because you don't have to do all the prerequisite steps again because they're already recorded. And once it's triggered, it comes into effect and it kind of refreshes itself. And to the brain, it thinks that, oh, it's been refreshed. It's been completed again. So the prerequisites are completed. So naturally the desire is born. For whom? For the one that you're in the memory and in that order of relationship. So the desire is born for her. It's not that you really miss her. It's not that you really desire her, because the prerequisite file that needs to be fulfilled before the desire is born is suddenly has been refreshed and triggered. And then you think, okay, I have to desire her now because all these prerequisites exist. The recording of it is re-triggered, so you think it exists, therefore it's fulfilled, therefore desire is reborn, and then you miss her. So instead, you got to go on, find another girlfriend or find things that you like to do, and you create a new order, individual, single order for yourself, so you don't have to go into the memory to find the old order for your brain to find security. You can find security for the brain in the new order, new things you do, new mechanical processes that you do, which creates a new routine, which creates a new order. And then the mind doesn't have to go into the memory and you won't see her and the desire is not rekindled or refreshed and all that. And you'll be saved that way. Mm. North Girl says, if I can't depend on a man to do what he says he will do, how can I trust him? You can't. Is codependency needy and unattractive? Yeah, when it gets too much, yeah. We men really love for the girl to kind of count on us. But when it becomes too much, then it kind of cuts into our own ability to breathe, thinking that we have some time for ourselves rather than constantly having to be bored about what I can do to make her happy and feel comfortable and all that is too much. We expect you guys to be able to handle yourselves, be happy on your own, accomplish things you want to accomplish, have your own career and schedules, so we can combine forces rather than constantly trying to carry your happiness as part of my duties. And that after for the beginning is fine and fun. And we won't hold anything. We'll just climb mountain for you guys. But eventually when that whole newness and the novelty of the sexuality and sensuality and the new relationship kind of wears off, which always for any relationship it does wear off, becomes not as pronounced, then that's the time that we hope to be have been able to bond on consciousness level. And if that hasn't happened during that initial introduction and the uh, um, honeymoon stage, then it will become a burden, seeing that, well, everything depends on me. I have no time for myself. I have no, um, uh, tranquility. Always worrying about how she feels and if she can, if I'm there for her, or it becomes a little bit um, cumbersome. Norman says sometimes seeing the negative news triggers my OCD. Yes, I accidentally see it on my feed, and when I hear stories of murder and tragedy, it puts me into fear. Yeah, that's your amygdala that is overactive, and you brought that with you since a million years ago through the your ancestors, cavemen, and all that so forth, and that's stayed overactive with you. Many of us are like that, and that's okay. Just understand that. Try to come to the present moment, and instead of being in the memory or being involved in what the brain is suggesting, just come to the very moment that you're living, and you will see everything is safe there. There's nothing of that the brain is conjuring up in order to keep you alert and safe, so it goes to the maximum end of the disaster that was somehow triggered in order to make you aware and alert and be safe. But it's unnecessary now because most things are pretty much safe. Let alone that they were living in an era that there are lots of things questionable in regards to governments and how they're behaving towards the people and what their real agenda is. However, in most cases, things are safe and quiet if you're in the present moment, in the very moment. Like this very moment, mindfulness exercise that I'm having tea, I should be thinking about tea, the smell of tea, the cup is green. Hmm. Oh, let's change my face. I don't want to see my face in the cup. I want to see Hawaii in the cup. So therefore, when I bring this up, I see my favorite island. There we go. Haha. So you exercise mindfulness in everything you do. If you're writing a note, you be with that what the pen is move and what is writing, and you focus on that. If you're drinking your tea, have your mind and your taste work together, be in the same place. Not the taste, the tongue is tasting, the mind is somewhere else. No, both should be here. And whatever you do, be with that activity, be with that effort of that moment. Be in the effort that you're making in the moment that you're making those efforts in. That's being in the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, it's so small, it's made out of so many small moments of the present moment that in every single one of them, there's nothing happening. It's very safe. But when you go into the brain and conjure and travel in what it conjures up, then there's so many things that it can go further and further to protect you and all that. Just don't need that. Come to the moment, present moment. You see, it's all safe. Nothing's happening. And whenever you guys have anxieties or things that they can do, things that I've always talked about, use your parafacial nuclei system of breathing instead of the pre-Butzinger complex. Pre-Butzinger complex is the system that use normal breathing. In, out. With this long or short breath, normal breathing, pre-Butzinger complex. But the breathing system, involuntarily system here that does the breathing, allows you to manipulate this pre-Butzinger complex and turn it into parafacial nuclei system, which allows you to manipulate and change the rhythm of your breathing. So use that when you're anxious by doing this. Double breathe, hold, and then let go. You will see you kind of kick out of the anxiety and the negative thinking, and things look better. This is how it looks. It quickly calms your mind. And you can do it 2 times, 3 times. And it's amazing. On that note, I have to go sleep now. Okay, guys. So let's see. I think I've answered all the questions. Do you have anything more? Anonymous says, hi, Maran. Just last thing, what's the difference between best friend and girlfriend? Anonymous, how old were you? You got to remind me of how old you are. Because I don't know how old you are. I don't remember. Is it 14, 15, 16? What are you? Anyhow, girlfriend, you're someone that you have a emotional, intimate feelings about. And a friend is a girl that you're hanging out with, but you don't necessarily have developed that sentiment towards her. Yeah. Okay. On that note, guys, it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind that seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon. But we too, like the iceberg, have 1,000 times bigger powers that is not visible, and we must. Why? Is it something we're rambling on and I expect you to accept it? Or is there actually another power within us? Would you come and help me out? Okay. What I want you to do is put your hands underneath my arms and just lift me up. There we go. Okay, now, that's my physical part, right? Same thing. Again, with that. Just want to see if there's any difference. Go ahead. Now, go ahead. Now, this, go ahead, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So you see, this is different than what he was doing, and I'm not really doing anything. You convinced?
Yeah.
So are you guys convinced that there is something other than, thank you. Thank you very much.